Live, Princess Leonor of Asturias weds, Copenhagen spectacle, imagine the heart of Europe standing still. The world's cameras locked on one city, Copenhagen. The air is crisp, the bells are poised, and the eyes of millions are waiting for one single moment. Princess Leonor of Asturias, the heir to the Spanish throne, is about to take her first step into a new life. But here's the twist, this isn't just a royal wedding. It's the rebirth of modern royalty itself. Because while many expected tradition, what unfolded today in Denmark was something else entirely, a union of heritage and modern love that is already rewriting royal history. From the moment the royal car glided through Copenhagen's streets, you could feel the weight of history. Crowds flooded every corner, waving both the Spanish and Danish flags, the sound of cheers echoing through the old European boulevards. Leonor stepped out, radiant, wearing a gown that mixed Spanish craftsmanship with Danish minimalism, a statement of unity and independence at once. Observers describe the moment as electric. A royal ceremony that didn't just celebrate love, it united two kingdoms in emotion. But behind the polished elegance, there were emotions few expected to see. King Felipe, his eyes glistening with tears. Queen Letizia, gracefully composed but visibly moved. And the young couple, Leonor and Christian, sharing glances that spoke louder than any vows could. As the ceremony began inside Copenhagen Cathedral, the air was thick with anticipation. The choir's harmony filled the grand hall. Candles flickered against stained glass windows that had seen centuries of European royalty. But never one like this. This was a generation-defining event. A Spanish future queen marrying in Denmark, something unthinkable only a decade ago. How did we get here? To understand this moment, we have to go back. Leonor's journey has been anything but ordinary. Born into duty, raised under intense scrutiny, yet carrying a calm, disciplined elegance that has now made her one of the most admired young royals in the world. Since her military training, her university life, and her poised public appearances, she has shown Spain a new kind of royalty, one grounded in compassion and strength. Meanwhile, Prince Christian of Denmark, the heir to another powerful European monarchy, has grown into his role with humility and warmth. The two met through diplomatic exchanges years ago, their connection strengthening quietly behind palace doors. What started as friendship evolved into something much deeper, a story that bridges two royal legacies that once stood apart. Today, that bridge became real. The moment they exchanged vows, the chapel filled with a silence so profound it felt like time stopped. And then, as the words, "I do," echoed through the ancient stone walls, Spain and Denmark erupted in cheers that could be heard for miles. Outside, people described scenes of joy unlike anything since King Philippe's own wedding 2 decades ago. Crowds waved flags, church bells rang, and across Spain, plazas filled with watch parties. In Madrid, giant screens broadcast the event live, and people wept openly. They weren't just watching a royal ceremony, they were witnessing their future queen embracing love on her own terms. But beyond the glitter and pageantry, there's something deeper happening here. This wedding symbolizes a new Europe, one that values tradition yet celebrates individuality. Leonor's choice to marry Christian is being called the Royal Reset, a moment that connects nations through empathy, shared culture, and youth-led change. In interviews leading up to the wedding, close sources described how Leonor personally shaped parts of the ceremony, choosing readings that reflected unity, modern faith, and the challenges of leadership. She wanted it to be meaningful, not just beautiful. Every flower, every note of the choir, every detail reflected her vision and her heart. And when the couple emerged from the cathedral, sunlight poured over them. Leonor's smile, calm but radiant, captured something beyond royal elegance. It was authenticity, the kind that the world rarely sees in monarchy today. Now picture the royal procession. Golden carriages replaced with sleek, sustainable vehicles, Leonor's subtle nod to a new era of responsibility. Copenhagen's streets shimmered with confetti, cheers, and flashes from photographers. Children waved Danish and Spanish flags side by side. And at the palace balcony, as the couple appeared to greet the people, the roar of applause was deafening. It wasn't just admiration, it was connection. Spain's prime minister called the moment a unifying force for Europe. Danish media described it as the wedding that felt like hope. And even skeptics of royalty admitted, something shifted today. Because in a time when the world feels divided, this love story reminded everyone that unity and humanity still matter. But the story doesn't end here. What comes next for Leonor and Christian could redefine monarchy for an entire generation. Together, they represent a Europe where leadership feels youthful, responsible, and emotionally real. And their marriage, one born not from politics, but from genuine affection, may be the key to restoring faith in royal institutions. Back in Madrid, King Felipe's emotional moment became one of the most replayed clips online, a father's silent tear as his daughter said her vows. It wasn't just pride. It was recognition of change. The realization that Spain's monarchy is entering a new chapter, one that his daughter will write. As evening descended over Copenhagen, the royal banquet began, a fusion of Spanish and Danish culture. Paella served alongside Nordic salmon. Flamenco guitar blending with classical Danish strings. Speeches flowed, laughter filled the halls, and throughout it all, the young couple glowed with quiet joy. Outside, the city glimmered with lights and fireworks that painted the sky red and gold, Spain's colors shining above Denmark. People in both nations celebrated late into the night. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian shared a dance that will live forever in royal history. This wasn't just a wedding. It was a declaration, a promise, a moment that said, the new generation of royalty isn't here to repeat history, they're here to shape it. As the night drew to a close, Leonor looked across the ballroom at her parents, her country's representatives, and her new family. The future of monarchy stood before her, not as something heavy or distant, but as something alive, compassionate, and deeply human. And that's why the world watched in awe. Because today, amid the splendor of a royal cathedral, amid centuries of history, a young woman transformed what it means to be royal. Princess Leonor of Asturias didn't just get married. She redefined an entire legacy. Spain will never forget this day, and neither will the world.